welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Brandy. I am a kindergarten Spanish immersion teacher who loves sharing tips and tricks to help you make your school year run smooth and successful. I have been teaching in kindergarten immersion for the past 2 years, and I've been a teacher for over 20 years now. So today we're going to talk about getting a soft start to the school year from home. Okay, I have 6 tips for you plus a bonus tip at the end. So let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, now what is motivating me for this video is just watching all of my other teacher friends here on the social media platforms doing classroom setups, and some of them are on day 6 and day 7 of being in their classroom out of contract time. Okay, so a lot of us know that teachers do not get paid over the summer, and my school building personally does not pay for classroom prep time. So a lot of times we feel like we're forced to go in and work, 16, 24, 48, hours of our own time setting up our classroom, so it can be a wonderful space. And I'm just here to let you know that this year I will be setting up my classroom in one 8-hour day. But I am antsy, I am excited, and I know there's lots of things that I can be doing at home that will make my 8 hours in my classroom run a little bit smoother and kind of give me a soft start, but also make me feel like I'm being productive as I'm still at home enjoying summer with my kiddos. Okay, so number 1, these are not in any particular order, so feel free to take them, out of order and do what works for you, but this is personally just works for me best. Okay, I love bulletin boards. They are bulletin boards and classroom doors have been just one of my favorite, most fun things to do throughout the school year. So tip number 1 is prep your bulletin board pieces. Now, for the first day of school, the first month of school, you kind of have an idea of what you would like your classroom door to look like. And I decorate one bulletin board either in my classroom or outside my classroom door, kind of depending on what building I'm in, what classroom I'm in. I've had lots of different buildings, lots of different classrooms, but I personally prep something for my classroom door and for one bulletin board. So you can create your bulletin board pieces, you can buy your bulletin board pieces, whatever you would like. I personally use Canva or PowerPoint and create my own bulletin board pieces. I have an HP ink printer at home. I can print in color. I do not mind doing that for my classroom. That's kind of like a have to. And I go ahead and I print out all of the pieces that I'm going to be using. So my first bulletin board for the year is going to say mucho gusto, which means it's nice to meet you in Spanish, with a little bit of cow print. And then I've also printed off my door pieces that I'll be hanging on my door for my students as they walk out of the classroom and they say, "I've had the best day with you." So this is a way you can print them, cut them, laminate them if you have a laminator at home. If not, that's something you can do when you get into your building, and you'll have them ready to go when you get into your classroom. You can even organize them by theme, by subject, put them in Ziploc bags, and they're really easy and accessible that way. Okay. Number 2 is go ahead and plan out those anchor charts. Okay, tip number 2 is prep your anchor charts. Anchor charts are an excellent way to support student learning. I use them in my classroom. I've used them almost every year since I've been a teacher. So if you have anchor chart paper at home, like I do, you can go ahead and just get them ready now. But if you don't, go ahead and create one in Canva or create one in PowerPoint, or even create a basic outline and a sketch of the charts at home, so that during class time you can fill them in with your students. This makes the charts more interactive, more engaging for the kids, plus you're going to save valuable class time just trying to think of those things off the top of your head. A couple of examples of the anchor charts that I'll be preparing before I go back into class are what whole body listening looks like, procedures for using the bathroom. And I also make like a checklist for all of the routines and procedures that I'm going to be teaching the first week of school. And I kind of engage students in that. I let them help me check off the rules and routines that we've already gone through. And it helps me stay accountable to everything that I need to be teaching them the first week of school. Okay, so tip number 2 is go ahead and get a sketch or an idea, a plan for those anchor charts that you're going to be using the first couple of weeks of school. Number 3 is get a list of those routines and procedures, and this goes into that anchor chart that I create. Okay, make a list of the routines and the procedures you want to teach during the first week of school. Okay, now this is going to be a list that you're going to have to add on to after you go through that first week of professional development within your building, and you get to know your team and you get to know your teachers and you get to know your building expectations. There are going to be a few things that you're going to have to add on or take off. So like maybe don't prepare that anchor chart right away, or specifically leave room to add on a couple of things there. Okay, think about everything from how students enter the classroom, what are your bathroom procedures, what does hallway behavior look like, how should they be sitting when they come to the carpet, how should they be sitting when they're at their desks. Have a clear plan of how you will help your students feel more secure and understand what is expected of them. So tip number 3, make a list of routines and procedures. Tip number 4 is organize your Google Drive, OneDrive, email, whatever you have, okay? One of the things that I love to do is go into my Google Drive or OneDrive and I create folders based on months. And then I have a couple other random folders that are kind of important to me. Like I have all of my bulletin board decor in one. I have all of my phonics curriculum in another. I even have things that I've shared to like multiple folders. So go ahead and create folders for yourself. So as you're creating and using resources throughout the year, you can drag and drop those documents into your monthly folder. It'll make your life a whole lot easier for the next year. Okay, so get rid of anything that you're not going to be using that year, or kind of move those things. If you taught a different subject the year before, if you taught at a different building the year before, decide is this something that you want to keep for later, find a new folder for it, or can you delete it forever? You're going to do the same thing in your email. Okay, if you have parent communication from last year, you probably don't need to have that. If you have communication from your old building, you probably don't need those emails either. Make folders in your email, get everything organized, delete the things that you don't need. Something magical about opening up your email and just seeing a 0 there as nothing unread feels really good way to start the school year. So keep your digital space well organized. It'll save you so much time throughout the year and help you stay on top of important messages that are going to be coming in from your school about your new school year. Okay, tip number 5, you're going to review your long-range plan and school calendar. Okay, now if you're a first-year teacher, you may not have your long-range plan yet, but you should have a district calendar. So I want you to decide, are you going to be a digital planner kind of girl? Are you going to create a digital plan for the whole year in PowerPoint or Google, or use a digital planner app? Okay, or are you going to do everything paper pencil? Okay, I personally use the digital planner, so decide which one works best for you. Get out that school district calendar and put in your important days off that you're going to have for that school year. If you have access to a building calendar yet, that's even better. Get that building calendar and put in days like field day, picture day, donuts with grandparents day, any of those little things that you can kind of put on your calendar ahead of time that will be helpful to you. Okay, get those things ready, and then when you meet with your team for the first time, if they have like a curriculum or a scope and sequence long range plan, you'll be ready to kind of just pull from those resources and put them in your planner however you see fit. But help go in with an idea of what you're going to use. This helps with planning and ensures that you don't miss any of the key events or deadlines. It's also great to map out some of the units that you want to be teaching, or maybe major projects that you want to do. If you've been teaching a grade level for a long amount of time, you kind of have an idea of when you want to do certain things. So go ahead and get those on your calendar. Okay, now these are kind of just a couple of bonus things that I like to do that maybe not every single teacher wants to do. But bonus tip, take on a short project. Okay, every summer I try to think about one thing in my classroom that I didn't really like, kind of like a reflection, and I try to formulate a new plan to make that work better for me. Okay, so take one short project to begin, maybe at the beginning of summer, or maybe those last few days of summer. This could be simple, like organizing your small group reading binder for the whole entire year. Maybe you didn't like how your reading groups have run in the past and you wanted to do better on those. So this year, in order to get better, you're going to plan out the whole entire year in advance. You're going to put master copies in the binder. You're going to make a list of all the manipulatives that you're going to use and make sure that you have them available to you. It could be planning year-long bulletin boards. Maybe you're not good with decorating your classroom or changing things out as often as you would like to. So you're going to plan out to change your bulletin board in your classroom or outside your door every quarter, or every 6 weeks, or every month. And go ahead and find ideas for those, and even better if you print them, put them in Ziploc bags and have them ready to go, so that it doesn't seem so hard during the school year, because sometimes during the school year, adding on one little task like tearing down a bulletin board can seem like the biggest task in the world. So do that when you kind of have a clear headspace. The project that I personally this summer am taking on this week before I go back into the building is printing new labels for classroom cubbies. Last year I did not have a good system in place, and I was writing on the bins kept erasing, I was using Post-its on the bin, the Post-its kept falling, and it was a new classroom, was a new system to me, and I just didn't find anything that worked. So I've decided on a number system, and I'm going to be printing new labels for all of my cubbies and my bins to use. Okay, for you it might look like maybe finally labeling your classroom library. Take on one of these small projects sometime during the summer. It can make a big difference in how smoothly your school year runs. Okay, and then another thing that you can do, I know there's some teachers who love to put together a great meet the teacher letter, and some teachers who are just like, I'm not doing that. Okay, and I've had those years as well. I've been in buildings where the parents, for whatever reason, it just wasn't important to them. It was just like another piece of paper that probably never got read. Okay, I'm in the complete opposite position this year, so go ahead and get a rough draft of a meet the teacher letter or email ready. This is your chance to introduce yourself to your students and to your families, share your excitement about the school year, and provide any information that they might need to know. Okay, a warm and welcoming letter is going to set a positive tone for the school year. Okay, now if you want to take that a step further and you're a planner and you love to do this kind of stuff, go ahead and draft up your newsletter even. Are you going to do your newsletter weekly, monthly, quarterly? And why I say draft, because sometimes in your building, your principal is going to require a weekly, or your principal is going to require a monthly, or maybe your principal says it's up to you. Okay, so I'm not saying like do the monthly, and then you get into your building and you're like, my principal said I had to do it weekly. Listen to what your principal is going to want, but kind of get an idea of when are you planning? If your principal left it up to you, when would you plan to send out a newsletter, and what would it look like? Go through TPT and find maybe a monthly editable one. There's tons of resources for that. But newsletters always seem to be kind of a thing that pop up at the end of the month, and you're in a panic and you're like, what do I put in there? What is it going to look like? Find a template so you can just drag and drop information into there, and it'll just take a couple of minutes instead of it being this hour, upon hour, really scary task. Okay. So those are kind of my tips and tricks for you to help you get a soft start to your school year from home without having to go into your building. If you found this video helpful, please give it a big thumbs up and share it with any teachers who might be looking for tips like this. And we'll see you in the next one.